So welcome everybody. Thank you guys for hopping on. I know we're going to have more people hop on throughout this call. But my name is Elena and we have Erin here with us as well. And we're the founders of Begin Rich, the one-stop shop for entrepreneurs to have all of the tools, resources, connections, and the tribe that they need to help their business grow and succeed. So we are so grateful that you guys are joining us today, and we are very excited to introduce our guest speaker, Sir Curtis Swenson. And Curtis is known as the Thought Coach. I'm going to just tell you a little bit about him if he doesn't mind me bragging on him.
Hopefully, all the time you want.
Oh, great. So he, after graduating from BYU in psychology, he became a Lewis Hayes certified teacher and coach. 10 years later, he discovered that coaching wasn't just his hobby, it was what he was born to do. And after 10 years of coaching, facilitating, and enrolling in 3 different companies, he started his own business. And he's known he was born to coach since 2008. A few years ago, he realized that his specific calling is to teach people to love themselves and realize the amazing changes that self-love can bring in their lives. And I am so excited that he's going to be talking to us today, because if you guys watched my Facebook Live video from earlier today, this is something that I 100% believe in. And the more that we can send out positive vibes out into the universe and talk positively about ourselves and about others, the more that's going to come back to us and just strengthen yourself and help you find that success. So Curtis, I'm going to let you take the floor and share your wisdom with us, but we're so grateful to have you here with us today.
Thank you. So everything she said was true, especially the good parts. And no, they were all the good parts. One of the biggest emphasis, what I emphasize most in my coaching business currently, though I do a few different types of coaching, as she mentioned, I focus on teaching people to love themselves. And one of the best ways I do that is through a group coaching that I offer. Louise Hay recommends 12 ways to love yourself. And so I've designed a group coaching where we go through 12 weeks, and each week we focus on one of the ways to love yourself. And the participants get an opportunity to practice that way that week. And of course, they are building on each week. And so by the end, they've at least had some experience and are getting pretty good at 12 different ways to love yourself. And that kind of puts them on the path and gets them going in the right direction. And I thought something useful to share with you today would be the first lesson, the first way that Louise Hay recommends that we love ourselves. And so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and I provide a handout each week in this group coaching. And so I'm going to share my screen and give you access to that handout. And I believe this is what Elena's going to email you later as well. So you'll be able to receive this and print it out and use it on your own. I'm just going to show you how to use it, because we're going to go through it today. So it starts out with this particular lesson is called Stop All Criticism. And Louise Hay says, criticism never changes a thing. Refuse to criticize yourself. Accept yourself exactly as you are. Everybody changes. When we criticize ourselves, your changes are negative. And when you approve of yourself, your changes are positive. So that's what Louise Hay says to introduce this. And what we're going to talk about is a way to battle negative self-talk, which I call NST. NST is one of the most damaging things on the planet. It's a precursor to the things you thought were the most damaging. It can lead to self-loathing, apathy, addiction, anxiety, depression, and suicidal thoughts. It can even energetically attract the coronavirus. That's a recent update that I put in just for you guys. Louise Hay says that if you fear something, you're energetically attracting it to you. And she's a cancer survivor, and she overcame cancer through using many things, including positive affirmations. And so she says if you fear, for example, in this case, getting cancer or the coronavirus, you're energetically drawing it to you. So the worst thing you want to do is be afraid of that. And another hero of mine, Wayne Dyer, says in this CD that I've listened to several times, he's talking to his friend about arthritis, and he says, "Aren't you afraid you're going to get arthritis, Wayne?" He says, "No, I don't do arthritis." And I would add, or the virus. So one of these, stopping criticism and focusing on positive self-talk, overcoming negative self-talk, is something that will keep you healthy, not only mentally but also physically. So I have a few other things I want to share with you. So the step number one is stop all criticism, and I'm sure everyone that is in our group today has experience with negative self-talk. I'm sure we criticize ourselves from time to time, and some of us probably quite a bit. And this week you're going to get an opportunity to find out how much you criticize yourself, and I'm going to tell you how to not get discouraged as well. So I have a student that shared these thoughts with me when she was working on this lesson, and I thought it was so impressive that I share it every time I teach this lesson now. She says, step one, stop all criticism. Stop all criticism of yourself and others. If you're criticizing others, you're criticizing yourself. It must be done cold turkey. No criticizing society, government, people you don't know, or even things. Take criticism out of your routine. The first phase is recognition. How am I criticizing myself and others? Oh, this is how. I forgive myself and I move on. So I thought that was pretty valuable. And one of the ways we're going to battle self-criticism is with affirmations. I would guess that anyone that would get on a call like this is pretty familiar with affirmations and may already be using them in your lives. But in case you're not, I like to think of affirmations as kind of as brainwashing. Brainwashing has kind of a negative connotation in our language, but I see it as a positive thing if you're the one that's doing the washing. So I use affirmations to do my self-brainwashing, and I find one of the reasons affirmations are so wonderful to run through your mind, say out loud, write repeatedly in your journal, post on the wall, is it gives us something positive to focus on. Because as all of you, I'm sure, already know, what you focus on grows. And so we want to use that focus. We want to be very careful what we choose to focus on and constantly be focusing on positive things. I like to say constantly feed your mind a diet of positive things, because what you focus on grows. And that's how you get more and more positive. We've all experienced a kind of a downward spiral where we're getting more and more depressed, and we're focused on that, and then we just get more and more depressed. I like to focus on the upward spiral, where I focus on positive things, therefore karma brings me positive things, and I have more positive things to focus on, and karma brings me more positive things. And I have this upward spiral where I'm just getting more and more positive. So remember, what you focus on grows. And I like to think that our subconscious, which is what I do, I teach people tools to access their subconscious, to work with their subconscious, to turn their subconscious from a saboteur into an ally. And I like to think of our subconscious as about 90% of our power. Our habits, our subconscious habits, are probably producing about 90% of our results. And our conscious is about 10%. And I think the most important thing we can do with that 10% is choose what to focus on, so that we are constantly training that 90% to go in a positive direction. I like to say, well, especially right now, there's so many opportunities to worry. I would imagine that each of us has at least 100 opportunities per day to worry. And there's even prior to the virus scare, there were so many things that we could be worrying about that we could literally worry ourselves to death. Would you agree? When you're focused on negative things, like I say, there's just more and more negative things to focus on. You get going in a negative direction. And if you're just worried, it attracts more worry, as Louise Hay says. Don't worry about getting cancer. Don't worry about getting the coronavirus. Certainly protect yourself and be smart about it. But we could literally find plenty of things. So just driving a car down the road, there's plenty to worry about. And we could literally worry ourselves to death if we're not careful. So there's something I discovered one day, and the phrase that I came up with to describe it is, I can either worry or I can trust in the Lord, but I can't do both at the same time. Which do I choose? So if you think about that, when I catch myself worrying, I realize, oh, I'm not trusting. And if I'm trusting, then I know I'm not worrying. A couple of years ago, my 14-year-old son contracted influenza B, which turned into pneumonia, and he ended up hospitalized for 10 days. And during that 10 days, my wife and I had at least 100 opportunities a day to worry. I like to imagine that the worry kept raising his hand and saying, pick me, pick me. And so 100 times a day, I got the opportunity to not pick worry and instead choose to trust. Because, the doctors were doing everything they could. There wasn't a whole lot we could do except provide companionship. And we were with him 24 hours a day. We'd switch off. And so 100 times a day, I had the opportunity to either worry or trust in God. And I'd already been practicing this for a while, and I got a lot of practice during that 10 days. I got at least 1,000 opportunities to practice trusting instead of worrying. So I got really good at it over those 10 days. That's one of the reasons I'm grateful. He did survive. He's doing well now. He's fairly healthy. And so I'm grateful for that. So remember, when you catch yourself worrying, you're not trusting. And trusting is essential. I mean, if I work with people all the time that say, well, I have trust issues. I don't trust my husband. I don't trust this person. I don't trust that person. And I say, well, then I would guess that you probably don't trust yourself. And they get this weird look on their face, like I'm reading their mind. And they're like, how do you know that? And I said, well, that's kind of how it works. If you don't trust yourself, it's very difficult to trust others. And so why don't you work on trusting yourself so you can build up that trust in others? And they said, well, how do I do that? And I said, well, make a commitment to yourself, a really small one you can guarantee you can keep, and then keep that commitment. And then make another commitment and keep that commitment. And then make another commitment and keep that commitment. As you begin to keep the commitments you're making with yourself, you'll learn to trust yourself more. And you will automatically find it easier to trust others. That was a tangent. That's not today's lesson. I apologize for giving you more value than you were expecting, but we'll just move on. So I'm going to launch into the action steps you see at the bottom here after I challenge you each. So in order to do the action steps, in order to do this exercise, we're going to work for an entire week on letting go of criticism. I'd like you to identify 3 things that are positive that you already believe about yourself and write them down. These are not affirmations. We started to talk about affirmations a little bit. These aren't affirmations. Affirmations are something you'd like to be true, you'd like to bring about. These are 3 things you already believe about yourself. And so I'm going to give you a minute to identify those 3 things, and I'll give you some examples, and then I'm going to ask Elena to give us her 3 examples as well, just to help us out, because I like to share examples. So 3 things that I already believe about myself. Number 1, I'm positive. You probably noticed that by now. Number 2, I'm good at receiving. And number 3, I'm great at giving compliments. Okay, so those are 3 possibilities that I could write down there. Now, let me give Elena a chance to share. Elena, have you identified 3 positive things about yourself?
Yes, thanks for putting me on the spot there.
I gave you some warning. That's not totally putting you on the spot.
So my 3 things I put: that I am an extremely hard worker, that I am positive and optimistic, and that I love helping others.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Anybody else want to share? Okay, well, hopefully those 6 examples gave you some ideas.
How
I'll throw in some, and everybody else can, even if you don't have 3, throw in something. I'm enthusiastic.
Awesome.
For better or for worse, I am I am enthusiastic. I love what you said about the receiver, because I'm learning how to be a better receiver. In fact, after this call, I'm doing a either a Facebook Live or a recorded video on exactly that, the importance of receiving, because we've got so many good givers out there that, you know, they're throwing the Frisbee, and instead of catching it, we just let the Frisbee kind of like drop right in front of us instead of receiving it. So,
I like that analogy.
So we need to be better receivers. My son Richie taught me a big lesson about that, and I'll share that this afternoon too. But the other thing is that I feel like I have been given this gift to solve problems. So like if like brainstorming and stuff like that, if businesses or for your personal thing, if there's issues, for some reason, I'm allowed to give answers. So if anybody has issues, try us out. We're here to solve problems. That's what we do. And I feel like, you know, I was born to brainstorm, and that solving problems is kind of comes natural for me. So how about the rest of you guys?
Well, I see we've got Awesome Annette on the call. I bet there's a reason you call yourself awesome. What are 3 positive things you already believe about yourself?
She is awesome.
Annette is super awesome. She put one of them in the comments.
Oh, I missed the comment.
Can you hear me? I don't have the right headphones, and this.
I can hear you.
Okay. I put that I genuinely care about other people. I had somebody ask me, like, how do you do that? I'm like, I don't know. But I'm glad that you're doing this lesson today, because as much as I easily do this for other people and positive other people, it's still hard for me individually not to beat up on myself. And I liked what Elena did on prep for us with that video earlier today about, like, talk to yourself how you would talk to your own friends. And that's why I do talk to my friends, because then they do tell me you're awesome. So as much as I can come off that way, I need this lesson continuously. That's amazing.
Beautiful. I'm glad you're on the call. Thanks for sharing.
And Annette is the sweetest person that you will ever meet, and also the best realtor in the whole wide world.
Oh yeah, let's get a plug in there. I like
I'm
it.
muting now. Thank you, Elena.
If you could think of, let's see, a person who goes above and beyond the call of duty, that would be Annette.
It sounds like Annette's someone I want to meet. We'll have to connect.
You need to meet Annette.
Awesome. Okay, I want to comment on something you said, Aaron. In my Love Yourself workshop, I often ask, I say, okay, let's suppose that I've just discovered my tire's flat on my car out in the parking lot. How many of you would volunteer to help me? And of course, everyone there raises their hand, right? Including you guys, yeah. And I said, let's suppose your tire's flat out in the parking lot. How many of you are willing to come in here and ask someone for help? And, you know, maybe 1 or 2 people raise their hand. And I'm like, why is that? Why are we that way? Why is everyone willing to help, and there's so many fewer people that are willing to accept help? I mean, we all want to help, and if people don't accept help, we don't get the help. So, you know, we're being robbed of blessings because no one will accept help. It reminds me of last night. Last night I was bringing some things back from Orem in a truck, and around the point of the mountain, one of them was a ping pong table, and around the point of the mountain, the wind blew the ping pong table over, and it almost fell out of my truck. And so I pulled over the side of the road, and I'm trying to reposition it. And this guy pulls over and he says, "You want some help?" And I'm like, "I sure do." And so he gets out and he comes over and he helps me lift the couch so the ping pong table can come back flat. And then he goes, "Well, do you have anything to tie it down with?" And I said, "No." And he goes, "Well, I think I got some twine or something." And he goes to his truck and he brings it back and he helps me tie the ping pong table to the other side of the truck so it won't blow over. And I said, "I sure appreciate your help." And he goes, "Yeah, I like to help. And these days, most people aren't willing to accept it." And I think he means like in the past month or so, but in general, that's true. And I said, "Yeah, I'm very willing to accept your help." And as I started, as I got back out on the road, the wind was blowing really hard. And I thought, wow, if he had not pulled over and helped me tie this down with that twine, this ping pong table would have fallen right out of the truck and been ruined.
Wow.
And I was really grateful for the help. And I just thought it was interesting that he said, "Yeah, lately no one wants to accept any help." It's like, oh yeah, no one even looks at you in the grocery store. So that's one thing I really like about this call is you're all looking at me. Thank you. I'm not contagious. Okay, so does everybody have 3 things? I hope so. 3 things that you already believe about yourself. And I'm going to explain why I wanted you to write things you already believe instead of doing an affirmation, which is what you probably expected me to have you write. We're going to be working with the subconscious this week, and it's kind of a battle. And so we don't want to also be battling with the subconscious with an affirmation, something we'd like to come to pass, something we'd like to be true about ourselves. I'm taking that step out so we can just go straight to the action. So here's the action steps. This is what I'd like you to do all week. Practice this all week. In fact, when I'm teaching a Love Yourself group, I say, this lesson is so important. I want you to practice it all 12 weeks and possibly beyond. This is about putting down your stick. You've probably noticed that most of us carry around a stick and we use it to beat ourselves over the head with. In fact, since I have plenty of time, I'm going to tell you a little story. I'm going to tell you a story about the 2 islands out in the middle of the ocean. On one island live the normal people, and on the other island live the people that love themselves. And there's a bridge that connects them. And when I read Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life, over 20 years ago, it was like she walked across the bridge and she said, "Hey, Curtis, come live over here. It's better." And so I walked up to the bridge and I noticed there's a big pile of sticks at the foot of the bridge. And I thought, what's with the sticks? And then I noticed I had one in my hand. And I used it to beat myself every time I made a mistake or felt like I wasn't good enough. And I thought, well, that's not what I want. So I put my stick down and it showed back up. And I put it down and it showed back up. And I put it down and it showed back up. And I must have put it down about 1,000 times. And it finally stayed down. And so I started walking across the bridge. And on my way across the bridge, I thought, people that love themselves, wow. Well, usually, without self-criticism, what would cause me to want to improve myself? I bet I'm going to get over there and find everybody sitting around on the couch with a bag of chips and a remote. Lo and behold, I get to the other side of the bridge. I'm standing on the island where people love themselves. And not only did my motivation to improve myself not go out the window, it was actually stronger. And I felt more capable to do so because I wasn't bloodied and battered from hitting myself with my stick. So I ran back across the bridge and yelled out, "Hey, everyone, come live over here. It's better." And I've been doing that for a little over 20 years now. But for some reason, most of us have a stick and we use it to beat ourselves with. So I tell my students, I say, we're gonna practice putting down your stick, and you're gonna practice it for the next 12 weeks and beyond, because putting down your stick takes a while. Like when I said I put it down 1,000 times, it wasn't much of an exaggeration. I'm pretty sure it took me at least 2 months, maybe longer, before my stick pretty much stayed down. And the day that I lost my stick, that was a beautiful day. Anyway, so step number 1 is catch yourself. Notice your negative self-talk. Now, this might not sound very fun. It might not sound like a step you want to do, but when you actually start to notice your negative self-talk, you'll be surprised at how much there is. So step number 2 is very important. Before you get discouraged and throw in the towel and give up and say, "Oh, it's too difficult to change," Do number 2. Be kind, patient, and gentle with yourself as you change. Don't beat yourself up about how much you beat yourself up. Okay? Don't forget step 2, or you'll get discouraged and you'll never do this. So step number 1, catch yourself in your negative self-talk. Notice how much. You might just work on that for like a day or for a half a day, and employ number 2, so you don't give up. And then number 3 is the action step. When you notice a negative thought or word about yourself, stop, back up, and replace it with one of the 3 positive statements you identified above. So I think several of us put, I like to help others. So let's assume that you catch yourself saying, oh, I'm such an idiot. Well, you stop. It's as if there's a court reporter there that's recording every thought or word that you say. And so you stop, you go, strike that from the record, you back up, and you move forward with, I love to help people. You might wonder if that'll work since it's not related to being smart or being an idiot. It works even if it's unrelated. If you have a positive thing about yourself that's related to the negative thing you said, that's even better. Go ahead and replace it with that. Actually, I'm a genius. And then you move forward. And that way, that court reporter is sitting there typing away. They probably don't type away anymore. They probably just record what's going on in court. But you say, strike that from the record, you back up, and then you want everything to be positive. So I'm going to give an analogy to you about that I thought of about the subconscious that works really well for me. I like to think of the subconscious as an army commanded by a general. And we know we don't have direct access to the subconscious. We have indirect access. We have ways of influencing the subconscious. And that's the way it is with the army. I can't command the army directly because that's the general's job. But guess what I do have direct access to? The general. In fact, the general hears every thought I think and hears every word I say. And then he barks out commands to the army. So in the previous example, like if I caught myself saying, oh, I'm such an idiot, then the general yells out to the army, he goes, Curtis is an idiot, so go about doing idiotic things today. And the army jumps up and they go do idiotic things, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Well, what if I stop and I back up and I say, oh, strike that from the record, I'm actually a genius. Then he goes, oh, scratch that previous command, Curtis is a genius today, so go about doing genius things. And so the army switches gears and starts doing genius things. Can you see how valuable this is going to be to stop, back up, and replace it? Well, as you continue to practice this multiple times a day, day after day, eventually when the army hears a negative command, they go, let's not even get up and start doing idiotic things because the positive things probably come right behind that. So they just wait until the general yells out the positive thing, and then they stand up and go do the positive thing. Well, after a while, the general gets the idea too, and he goes, oh, he just called himself an idiot, but in a minute he's probably going to say, strike that from the record, and I'm actually a genius. So he stops barking out the negative command, and he just waits for the positive thing. And then he barks out the positive thing. The army goes about doing positive things. And eventually, you stop thinking the negative things, and you stop saying the negative things. It takes a while. Like I say, it'll take a long while, but this is a great one to start with, a great one to practice. And the more you practice, the fewer negative things you'll be saying about yourself, and the fewer negative things you'll be thinking about yourself. And it actually works. I have about 15 people right now that are going through the Love Yourself coaching, and it's one of the most challenging ones. I knew this was a high-level group, so I thought, well, I'll give them one of the most challenging ones. And it's one that I encourage you to practice, especially this week and hopefully for the next couple of months. Do I have any questions? I mean, I have lots of questions, but do I have any questions from you?
I don't think so.
Nope.
I love that though.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I hope that you all practice this, and I hope you all get good at putting down your stick. And don't get discouraged. Be kind, patient, and gentle with yourself as you make these changes. Because how long have we been practicing negative self-talk? It kind of depends on how old you are. I'm not going to tell you how many decades I've been practicing negative self-talk before I ran into this material. But it takes a while, so give yourself some time to overcome it. It won't take you as long as you've been practicing. You can do it in 4 to 8 weeks if you focus on it and do it consistently. Okay, I'm done.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Curtis. I know a few of us, we've just been chatting in the group chat as well about how awesome this is. But like, I have similar thoughts to Annette. Like, I love sharing positivity and just empowerment, that we are all here to support each other. But Erin can attest to this. I am a terrible receiver. I'm getting better, though. I'm getting better at it, and I'm practicing it. But it's been something that I've had to work on, and same with the positive self-talk, and it's something that I have to work on every second of every day to continuously remind myself, you know, that I am enough, and every little step moving forward into the right direction is a step moving forward. So just because you do have those small little setbacks and one thought that might hold you back for a second, only let it be for a second, and then take a deep breath and reset. And Curtis, as you were talking about this, it was reminding me a little bit about meditation and how that works, because that was something that I started to do when I was pregnant with my baby girl, Emmy, is I started to practice meditation a little bit. And I'm the worst meditator in the universe. My mind goes a million miles an hour all the time. And so as I'm practicing this, you know, I'm laying there and I'm doing the meditation, and I have a million things going through my mind. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I suck at this. And then the gal on the meditation, if you've strayed from focusing on your breath, it's okay. Just take a deep breath and come back and focus on your breaths. Focus on breathing in, focus on breathing out. It's okay. And I just always think of that, like when you do have those negative thoughts, or you stray away from where you want to be or what you should be focusing on, it's okay. You can come back, reset, and keep moving forward. So that's what it reminded me of, Curtis. And I just really loved, I loved what you said, and I agree with Annette. Her comments at number 2 is so important, to just be patient with yourself and understand that you are working on it. You are working to improve. So
I have a suggestion on meditation if you're open to it.
Absolutely.
I also find it very difficult to meditate. And so one day I set a goal. I'm just going to meditate for 2 minutes. So I set 2 minutes on my phone, and I get into my relaxed state, and I focus on my breath, and I meditate for 2 minutes, and I'm amazed at what 2 minutes of meditation will do for me. I kept thinking, well, I'm going to start with 2 minutes and then work up to longer. But I get so much value out of my 2 minutes a day that I just keep doing the 2 minutes. And I don't beat myself up that I can't do longer than 2 minutes, because I'm great at 2 minutes.
I love that. I
have another suggestion on meditation. Sometimes we meditate to seek an answer. And I found that if I ask my question, I focus on my question first, and then I go into my meditation, and I don't focus on my question. I just work on calming my thoughts and having a clear mind. I'll often get, I'll almost always get at least one answer, sometimes 2 or 3 answers in 2 minutes. Because when I get an answer, I pause the timer and I get out my journal and I make some thoughts, and then I resume. And in 2 minutes, I can get multiple answers sometimes.
I think that's the key, is to clear the mind, and not with an intention involved. Okay, I'm going to wait for the answer. No, just clear the mind. Don't have anything in there. I've been thinking a lot about this criticizing thing. I think sometimes we criticize ourselves, and sometimes we criticize other people. And I'm gonna share a story about my son Richie, who was a really good receiver, but we had gone to help my brother Adam move, and we took all day Saturday. And after helping, he's my brother, right? So after helping, he's like, hey, let me pay you guys for helping, right? And I'm like, no, you're my brother. I'm not going to let you pay me for helping. But Richie, who was about 20 at the time, 19, said, I'll take your money. What do I do, right? As a receiver, hey, you can't take money. That's your uncle. You can't take money from him. And so what did I do? I criticize him. Well, we get down the street and he says, hey, can I stop off at the bank? His mom had been sent to Honduras about a year and a half earlier. He went to the bank and he deposited $60 out of that $80 into his mom's account. Something that if he would not have received gratefully, he could not have done.
He would
not have been able to do. So it taught me, one, stop freaking criticizing people, because there might be a really good reason somebody's doing something. And two, learn how to receive, because it's only by receiving that we can keep this string, this infinity string going of giving and receiving. We stop the receiving, what's going to happen to the givers? What's going to happen? So we need to receive gratefully, and we need to give generously. And we do those kind of things, and we need to stop criticizing ourselves and other people. We don't know what's in their heart, what's in their mind, and we have personally the opportunity to change our own lives through some of these techniques that you taught today. So thank you very much, Curtis. I really appreciate it.
I've got a comment on. I've got a big juicy claim. You guys want to hear a big juicy claim? As I was working on putting down my stick, and I got pretty good at not criticizing myself, I thought, you know, when I'm through with this goal, I'm going to make a goal to stop criticizing others. And notice the lesson is called Stop All Criticism. I was very shocked to see that the better I got at not criticizing myself and being kind and patient and gentle with myself, my criticism of others just kind of fell away. And it was like buy one, get one free. And I thought, wow. And the quote I read earlier, it kind of indicates that you basically stop all criticism. You can't stop one area of criticism without stopping all criticism. It's a big package, and you just do it cold turkey. So if you get good at putting down your stick, your compassion for others, your judgment of others will go way down, and your compassion for others will go way up. And you'll start to think, wonder what kind of day they're having today in order to treat me that way, or wonder what kind of childhood they had, or I wonder if their dog just died, or whatever. You start to kind of cut other people some slack too.
Yeah, I love that, Curtis. One of my favorite quotes is, everyone is fighting a battle that we know nothing about. And if you think about that, it really does make you kind of stop in your tracks before you make any rash decisions, you know. Like, I did this challenge earlier I actually did this before doing this challenge, but I was prompted to do a spread love challenge, which is like right in alignment with me. And as she was talking about it, it kind of reminded me of something that I had already done. But there was this worker at Office Depot, and I was going in to pick up a print order, and this was like a month ago or month and a half ago, you know, before quarantine. And it was very, very messed up. Nothing was done right. I was missing things, and I was just like, okay. And I'm fairly patient, I feel like, you know, and slow to get upset. So I was like, you know, it's okay. What can we do to make it right? And the guy was just talking to me, and he was kind of venting about, you know, some employees and stuff and what went on. And I was just listening. And then towards the end, we're talking about checking out, and it was for what I do as a volunteer at West High School. So I was talking about doing a nonprofit tax exempt thing. And he was like, you know, that's so cool that you coach. And he started to open up, and he told me that he was on choir as a kid, and he's gay, And he loved his choir teacher. He said his choir teacher is like the only thing that got him through school. He was bullied and he had a really rough time at school. And his choir teacher went into Office Depot and he remembered her and she didn't remember him. And that's why he was having such a hard day, is because that had just happened and he was heartbroken. And so he's telling me the story, and he's like, whatever you do, just remember those kids, remember the kids that you're working with. And so that really touched me and impacted me in a huge way, hearing his story. And so what I did is I sent him, there's a site called Brightbox where you can send surprise gifts to people and mail it out. And I put together this package and I just mailed it to Office Depot under his name. And I haven't been able to see if he got it. But it was just like, he influenced my life, and he gave me just this amazing knowledge and something to think about as I go throughout my day. And so I wanted to do a little something to give back to him as well. And you know, I could have gone in there and just been like, why is my order messed up, and been super upset about it. But because I wasn't, and because I was there to listen to him, he changed my life from going in there. So I really, really like that advice of just not listening to that criticism. And sorry for the tangent. But
You know,
awesome.
even that sorry for the tangent is just a little bit toward criticism.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah,
The work in
it might
progress.
sound arrogant to say, and you're welcome for that beautiful tangent, but maybe something in between.
You're welcome for that beautiful tangent. Well, you guys are so awesome, and thank you so much, Curtis. I think everybody has felt lots of love and encouragement on this call. Does anybody else want to contribute anything before we head off for the day? You're more than welcome to.
Is it choppy when I talk?
No?
Hey, Brian. Nope, you're good. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I found that on these last Zoom calls that I've been on over the last couple of weeks, I usually have to stop the video if I'm going to talk because my connection and bandwidth is off. Anyway, but as long as you guys can hear me fine, that's great. So I'll just give you a little bit of a hack, that something that has helped me from, because I listen to a lot of self-improvement podcasts, things like that. And one of the ones that I listened to is they said, take out a piece of paper, and this is great for all of you to do this, and just draw a line right down the middle of it. And then on the left-hand side, draw or write down all of your positive attributes. Funny, charming, witty, whatever you want. Just put as many as you possibly can on there. And on the other side, put all of your, when you're not in a good space, write down all of your attributes that you currently have, whether you're sulky, sad, whatever. And then on both of them, you want to be able to draw a character that represents, like even if you're a terrible drawer, draw it in stick figures, and draw just a little character that represents your attributes on both sides. And then just anytime you're feeling on the right side to where you're not in the right space, you're not in that positive space, then take a look at that character and say, do I really want to be that character right now? And then just look over and look at the positive character and say, yeah, I totally want to be that character. And then you look over your attributes and say, yeah, I can totally be that person. That's great. And then just say them out loud, those positive attributes. And it's fine if you want to be able to also say things that you're grateful for, if you really want to get yourself out of a negative space. And those things will just help dramatically. I mean, I did that for probably consistently for 6 months, and just anytime I noticed that I was gravitating a little bit toward that side, it just popped me right back.
Do you have those images, those characters? Love to see some of those.
I will see if I can find that paper. I hope I can. Before I started to say that story, I was wondering if I still have that paper, and I'm sure I do. I just got to find it because I just moved a couple months ago. So hopefully I have it. I think I just need to find it in a box.
Awesome.
That is awesome. I love that.
And eventually, right, it's gone from the paper into your head. So you see those images right there.
Yep.
Instead of having to look at them. And that's the key, right? That's awesome. Thank you very much, Brian.
So I'll share.
Sorry, just real quick, I was going to say one more thing, that something that I can really get so much better on, and I'm glad that almost everyone brought this up, is I need to be a much better receiver. I really do, because I'm a very giving person. I love to be able to provide value. I talked with someone earlier today. It was just a one-on-one conversation. It was a Zoom call, of course. And during that time, then I was saying, how can I help? How can I help? And I was writing all this value. And then she says, how can I help you? I'm like, I can't think of anything. So then I just told her what different things that I'm currently working on in my business. And she says, what about if you do it like this? And I'm like, oh, this is great. So you just got to be open to being able to take the reception.
Yep.
So anyway, I cut you off, Annette. Go ahead.
No, that's kind of what I was going to say was somebody on this call, who won't be named, with a yellow shirt on, gave me something once that I wasn't expecting. And it was, I think, not necessary. It was above and beyond like anything that I would have ever expected her to give me. And, but on that or whatever else it is, especially if it's monetary, what I do with it, like, because I'm in a BNI group and we give away a little prize every week. I used to feel guilty if I would get it, but now I'm just excited because I can give that to someone else and that makes me happy. And so I asked Elena on my message, I'm like, does it count as cheating if I get to give it away? Because that makes me happy, but it makes it easier for me to receive it. And so that's the way I'm looking at receiving, is like, hey, if I get more things than I expect, then that just means I get to give more. And so whatever it is. So that's the way I'll look at that. So thank you for that. And someone's home.
Yeah. That ties in with what Erin was saying about the infinity. The more you give, the more you receive. And it goes on and on and on and on.
And I play Frisbee a lot, you guys, and think of that image in your head. You got one guy over here playing Frisbee and maybe it's a whole group of you, but if it's just you and somebody else and they're throwing the Frisbee to you and you're just letting it hit you in the chest and drop off. And then what you're going to do?
And how fun is that?
You got to pick it up at some point, right? But if you can pick it up, now maybe somebody else is playing. So Annette can throw that Frisbee now that she caught it. She can throw that Frisbee to somebody else. Now they can receive that gift. And they throw it to somebody else. They receive that gift. And it just keeps going up. And now watch out, because you got another Frisbee coming right at you. Because that's one thing we found with people who are good receivers, is that there is an awesome opportunity to receive, because there's so many good givers out there, right? So you receive something and you throw it away. Be ready for that next Frisbee, because it's coming. It's on its way. And think about, well, when I receive this, who am I going to give it to now? It might not be the same person. It might be somebody else that you're giving it to. Now, automatically, when you throw that Frisbee, for some reason, and you guys who are business owners know that this is true, when you throw that Frisbee, it automatically becomes 10 Frisbees, and you're blessing 10 people's lives instead of just one. And then, boom, those 10 automatically, if they throw that one Frisbee, it's 100 Frisbees, and it's going out and blessing 100 people's lives. That's how this thing happens. But we got to catch the Frisbee. We got to receive better. And when we do so, we'll be blessed. The person who gives it to us, they're going to be blessed. Think how happy it makes people when we receive gifts gratefully. It's a big deal. Versus saying, oh no, never mind. Oh, I don't need that. Or thanks, but I'm okay. No, that's wrong energy. Thank you very much. I'm so grateful. I really appreciate that. That's the kind of energy to have when we receive.
Yeah.
This has been awesome, you guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much again, Curtis, for coming on this call. And we're going to share this presentation and all of Curtis's contact information and the information for his next Love Yourself course. So if you guys are interested in taking it, you can contact him and take it. 12-week course. And is there anything else you want to add to that, Curtis?
No, that sounds great.
Okay, awesome. So we will send that out to you guys. If you know anybody else who might have some value from hearing this call, let us know and we can email it out to them as well. So since it's all been recorded. So thank you guys so much for joining us. You're all phenomenal and we love you.
Love you guys.
You're amazing. And remember to love yourselves too. See you guys.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Love you. Love you.